there is a weight to leadership that I don't think that we think about. We think about, I speak, I give my opinion and people do it. That's different than what I think actually leadership is, where you actually not only have to make the cool calls, but you have to make the hard calls.
Yeah, wow.
And you have to carry the weight of what happens when you make that call. And what happens if you make that call and then you're wrong and other people are affected by it.
Yeah.
That's leadership.
Wow.
Influence and or contribution is more like, because I'm in a space, I will make that space better. I'm committed to making this podcast as valuable as possible. I'm not going to lead it, but I'm going to contribute to it. I'm fill in the blanks of like whatever that would be in my family, in my relationships, and then maybe it's in my company. I'm not supposed to lead it, but I am supposed to contribute and have influence here. And I think that's a thing that as we wrap our minds around it, can actually be really freeing for people. Where if everyone's running around going, I'm supposed to lead this thing. I'm the leader. I'm supposed to, I don't think everyone's supposed to carry that weight.
Yeah.
Or fight for that weight.
Welcome to Good Service. I'm your host, Ben Chung. Each week, I'll be having real, raw, and vulnerable conversations about life, faith, and everything in between, and always over a fire meal. So pull up a chair and let's eat.
Folks, welcome back to Good Service. This is a new season. I'm your host, Ben. And as you can see, it's just me here. Kevin is not here. He has stepped away from the podcast. We will bring Kevin back. He will definitely be a guest, but this is a new season. And if you guys missed our last episode, go back to that episode. We explain everything of the new transition and everything there. So want to bless Kevin. Love you, bro. But here we are, new season of Good Service. My guest today, I'm very excited. He's a good friend. He is an executive leader and coach. He is the Chief Expansion Officer at Novus Global, an executive coaching firm whose focus is to drive impact by transforming individuals, teams, and organizations. He and his team have worked with Fortune 500 company execs to world-class artists and pro athletes and so much more. He's a best-selling author of the book Improv Leadership: How to Lead Well in Every Moment, a book that equips leaders across industries to thrive in dynamic environments. He's a husband and father. We have David Arthur Miller in the pod.
Buddy, so good to be here.
Yeah, bro, it's great to see you. It's been like well over a year, maybe even two.
Yeah, not since we've talked.
Yeah,
but since
we've hung out and
tacos in Long Beach.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
And so speaking of the food part, so today we are gonna enjoy another meal from Egg Tuck, and we want to just shout them out. Shout out to Egg Tuck. They blessed us with this meal. You have their fluffy egg tots.
That's it.
We also got some of their fluffy egg fries, and I am having their royal spicy, which is a Korean spicy patty, eggs, tater tots, chives, and their bomb sauce is here. So shout out to Egg Tuck. Thank you so much for blessing us with this meal.
Yeah,
so before we get into the food, we start off with what we call a first bite reflection.
Okay.
And it's kind of the question that, when you sit down for a meal, like let's say with your family, like dad normally asks a question like, how's school? Or what are you learning right now? Yeah. So that's kind of what I do. I'm like, all right, God, like, how do you want us to start off the conversation today? So I was praying for you. And I was, obviously I met you in the context of, we met at Young Guns, which is essentially just a leaders gathering, and people who, from all different walks of life, whether pastors of churches to athletes to people in entertainment, and just people who lead in just all different facets of life. And I met you there, and we had a brief talk there, and then we later connected on the phone, and we were talking about coaching, because I've been very just curious about this space, and I've been told like, hey man, like you have like kind of the natural, ingredients for what would make up a good coach. And so I was just very curious about that space. And over the years we've connected, a few times about that. And so the idea of coach, like I think, the word like leader comes to mind, right? Like what makes a good leader? Can everyone lead? Is everyone called to lead? And so I had these questions and I was just kind of wrestling with God, or not wrestling, I was just kind of throwing it back to God. I'm like, what about leadership? Do you want us to focus on, God?
Sure.
And so, I think calling has been a big thing that, I personally have been like wrestling with God, like, God, what is my calling? Yeah. And we've talked many times on this show about like, is that the most important question, like the calling, or is it the one who calls you? And so, I've had all these different like back and forth. I'm like, all right, God, am I like idolizing calling? And so anyway, like I felt like the Lord just wanted to like really shrink it down to just the word leader, and if everyone is actually called to lead. And that's kind of like an open-ended question. I think it's very open to discussion. So our question that I feel that the Lord wants to kick off on is everyone called to be a leader? And then part 2 is what makes a good leader? So is everyone called to be a leader?
Yeah, sure.
And then if so, what makes a good leader? So that's our question, and we're gonna start off on our first bite together.
Great.
I'm gonna get into this Royal Korean burrito. I'm gonna sauce it up here. Oh yeah,
That's good.
oh yeah. I added avocado in here too.
Oh, you surprised yourself with the avocado.
Oh my shoot! I forgot that I added the avocado. Shout out to Egg Tuck. If
Yeah.
you guys are curious about the food, always check it out on video, Spotify, and YouTube, where you can see all the bomb food that we're enjoying. Thank you, Egg Tuck. Love y'all. So is everyone called to be a leader?
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I like the question, and so let me give a little bit of nuance that I think is going to help us. Like there's this idea of like leadership. You're a leader if people are following you. There are people that believe they're leaders, but nobody's following them, and they're just out front.
That's
they're
funny,
they're going.
That makes a lot of sense.
They're going somewhere. And so there's a piece of me, and I've gone back and forth with this over the years. The core of the question is everyone, meant to be or called to be a leader. I believe that everyone is meant to have influence. Everyone is meant to have like they get to, whether that's influence in like a friend group, in a family, influence in a fill in the blank of what that is. Then there's a skill of leadership.
Wow,
And so then there's a, how do I lead someone? And I believe that you can, at various levels, develop that skill, but that's different than everyone must be a leader. I do think there is some idolization of like leadership in general. Some people are meant to be talent. Some people are meant to be supporters. Some people are meant to be, right? We can fill in the blank of the roles that we have in our teams, families, culture, companies. And what almost gets us in trouble sometimes is when everyone thinks they're supposed to be the leader. There's like an idolization in my mind in U.S. culture largely, but like it's like climb the ladder. So hey, I was working at this in this like nonprofit, or I'm working in this company, and I think I'm supposed to, right? There's like this that word "supposed to" is something I want to pay attention to a lot of times.
Yeah.
There's this I'm supposed to get a promotion. I'm supposed to have more leadership than I now have, and I don't know that I think that like that's where everyone is naturally is. I do think, and our work does this in the coaching that I do think that everyone has like kind of a next level of the video game for them.
Sure.
But I don't know that that's always, if we delineate between like officially leading something or being a person who has influence and intentional like opinions, thoughts, like the way that they would lead a friend versus leading in a company or a nonprofit.
Yeah. Where do you think, so when you say that people get this feeling is of I'm supposed to get a promotion. I'm supposed to advance to the next level. What do you think that supposed to comes from?
Comparison.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a quick answer. I'm sure that I can come up with other.
That's great,
but like,
though. That's probably the word to hit it on the head right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we look at other people and wonder, why don't I do what they do? Why don't others look at me the way that they look at them? Why don't?
Yeah.
Why? You know, and I think it's like a really lonely place to live, is in this like what if, and why don't people do this same thing that they would do for somebody else? I think that like to actually be self-aware and to figure out for yourself, where do you fit? Where do you thrive? Where do you contribute in some of the more intentional ways is a gift. And when someone is constantly like, there is this like striving that happens within like a lot of cultures, but U.S. culture, there's this striving, hustle culture. Like there's this thing there, and it's because we all listen to Gary Vee tell us that we should, go like flip furniture, or which again, and some should.
Sure. Yeah.
And so there's for us to slow down for a moment and figure out our unique contribution to a space, I think is really interesting. And so I get to be in a place that I am led and I lead. I get to be in groups of friends where I am not a leader, I'm an influence.
Yeah.
I get to be in positions right now. Right now, you are leading this podcast. I'm the talent, man. Like I'm here just to like contribute and add and be a part of it with you.
Yeah.
But like, I'm following you, right? And so we get to switch in and out of those spaces depending on what's happening in like the space that we're in. And I think again we go straight into like lead in all situations. Could you imagine if everyone was leading in all situations?
Yeah,
like
that'd be chaos,
like total chaos, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we have job descriptions, and that's why we say here's the edge of what we need from you right now, and here's what success looks like in this space, but so often we overfunction, and then we wonder why we burn out, or we overfunction and we wonder why we're disappointed, or we overfunction. And the amount of times, even like I was a pastor for years, I would have people come up to me and they go, "I'm supposed to speak," and I would go, "Really?" That's news to me,
sure,
right? And maybe that's true. Let's explore that, but maybe it's not.
Wow.
And maybe actually the role that you have in this space is fill in the blanks of whatever like other opportunities there could be.
I love that you use the word contribute. When I think influence, the first word that comes to mind is not contribution.
Okay.
But like I almost think those two words are synonymous. Like to contribute is to add something to something, right? Like I'm gonna add this to this place or this group, and you adding that influences what is happening there. Yeah. But contribution is seen as like kind of, that's like a good word. Like I want to add value to you. I want to contribute value to your life, versus me saying I want to influence you. That kind of sounds like, whoa, what do you mean influence me to do what? You know what I mean? But that's great. I think it's the way that we define words.
That's right.
And the way that maybe our natural definitions that we place on things, and it makes us feel some type of way. But I think that's what's really important, of like really understanding what kind of a meaning we're placing on certain words. So when you said influence, like not everyone is meant to lead, but everyone's meant to influence, and then you said we're supposed to contribute something, and I'm like, whoa, those two words seem like they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah, well, we make up definitions. So like then you have an influencer, right, which we have our feelings about. And like when you go, oh, I'm like, what does that actually mean? Sure. What are you influencing me toward? And what and again, there is something to maybe another way to like spin it is add value. Yeah. I don't know that everyone is supposed to be the person who decides. I think of leadership as like a weight that someone carries. If you're leading, you have the weight of decisions. I'm working with a company right now in our coaching space, and I'm sitting with the president and CEO and the leadership team, and they have to make some hard decisions that will affect like people's bonuses, and it will affect people's mortgages, and it will affect like a long-term, like there's like stewardship in it. Like, should this person still be working here? Are they the right fit? Well, what happens if they're not working here? And like, that's heavy.
Yeah.
There is a weight to leadership that I don't think that we think about. We think about, I speak, I give my opinion and people do it. That's different than what I think actually leadership is, where you actually not only have to make the cool calls, but you have to make the hard calls.
Yeah, wow. That's
and
good.
you have to carry the weight of what happens when you make that call. And what happens if you make that call and then you're wrong and other people are affected by it.
Yeah.
That's leadership.
Wow.
Influence and or contribution is more like, because I'm in a space, I will make that space better. I'm committed to making this podcast as valuable as possible. I'm not going to lead it, but I'm going to contribute to it.
Yeah.
I'm fill in the blanks of like whatever that would be in my family, in my relationships, and then maybe it's in my company. I'm not supposed to lead it, but I am supposed to contribute and have influence here. And I think that's a thing that, as we wrap our minds around it, can actually be really freeing for people. Where if everyone's running around going, I'm supposed to lead this thing, I'm the leader, I'm supposed to, I don't think everyone's supposed to carry that weight.
Yeah.
Or fight for that weight.
It makes me feel like if you really knew what leadership is, it should make you more scared of it than for you to be like, I want that. Like,
you would not be clamoring for it.
like,
if you
give me
really
all-
understood,
Yeah.
you wouldn't necessarily be clamoring for it the way so many are.
Right.
But we glamorize it on our shows.
Yep.
In our movies, it's like the leader,
Right, the
and
hero.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. We're all looking to be the hero in that narrative, and I think that there's interesting things to think about there. But to truly understand the weight of it, the intentional, what it takes to be that kind of leader, I don't think everyone would run on it.
Let's talk about the hero. I mean, there's the hero's journey, right? And if you really understand the hero's journey and know how to unpack it, they weren't killing it from day one. It's not like they're just, like, I have all the power, I don't struggle, I just make all the right calls. There's a great deal of humility, the humbling and the breaking that happens before the glory moment, before the moment where, like, everybody celebrates that one moment. But like, do we really know everything that led up to that?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm working with an Olympic athlete right now, and we were just talking about this a couple weeks ago in one of our sessions where he had a rough game. He's hockey player had a rough game, and the conversation moved into, hey, does the gold medal winning hockey player have hard games along the way, or is every game perfect up until that point? And he's like, well, no, I mean, obviously. It's like, right. And we forget that. We forget, again, as you're using kind of the device of, like, it's like a literary device of the hero's journey, right? And so we go, stories are compelling. We use the hero's journey in our stories because it's a compelling narrative. Perfection is not compelling. So we use the hero's journey in like there's what is the problem they're solving? What are the ways they stumbled along the way? What was the breakthrough moment? And then what's the moment that they actually like emerged that hero in all the stories? What's interesting is in most of our movies, we end the movie there.
Right.
It's the same with like romance. Like, it's like, you're watching a movie and it goes, well, it was the awkward meet cute. Then they wasn't sure, will they, won't they? Then they do. And then the credits roll.
Yeah.
That's not real. And so it's in the same way that's not real for relationships, and it's really screwed up our view of relationships.
Yeah.
Zach Morris really screwed me up.
Oh
man.
my
You know what I mean?
gosh.
Like, he messed me up big time.
kidding me, bro?
In the Saved by the Bell days.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it takes to have that relationship and to be that cool guy and all the things. And then you go, actually, most people hate that guy. No one actually wants to be around someone that acts like that. And so what do we do about that? And then same is true in romance, in leadership stories, in that hero's journey. It goes, oh, it didn't end when they celebrated when Frodo like got rid of the ring. That's not like then what happened is that he's having withdrawal from the thing that he like loved, and then then there's so much else behind that, but our stories don't go there because we love the ending of I struggled, I made it, I became the hero, and then look at me now.
Man, I feel like, and I'm not trying to over spiritualize this, but like I think when we chase after, it depends on what we're chasing after, that your motives and the outcome is dependent upon why you're doing it, aka what are you worshiping? Like, what are you worshiping? Like, okay, let's just say, well, because you mentioned Lord of the Rings. I mean, that ring was like an object of like worship. Everyone sought that as, if I have that.
Yeah. What was the ring? What did the ring represent?
Well, it was power.
Power.
You know, and so like if I'm the holder of that thing, like I have everything. You know, I'm the one.
That's right.
So, you know, what is the thing that you're chasing after as to like, I want to lead this. Why? What do you think you're going to get?
Yeah,
if you get placed in that place of leadership, what are you actually getting? What are you seeking after?
Yeah.
And that's a very exposing, vulnerable question, you know, if you're going to be honest about it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, because I want to be famous.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's a real thing. You
No
know what I
shame.
mean? Like,
Go for it.
no, yeah, exactly. Or I want to be the one that everyone praises. I want to be the one that, or I want to be rich.
Want to
you
make
know,
a certain amount of money. Yep.
so then it gets me to, you know, because you say you were a pastor before you went into coaching.
Yeah.
And pastoring is leading.
Yeah.
It's coaching.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm curious for you. You know, how long were you in vocational ministry, like as a pastor?
About 10 years.
10 years, it's a long time. Okay, so for you, what made you feel like that was the direction you were supposed to go in? And then part two is what made you feel like that season's over and now I need to go do kind of a similar skill, so to speak, just in a different realm. So, and I'd love to hear like what the drive towards one thing and then the drive towards the other thing is. What's up, stewards? So people have been asking us how they can support the podcast, and the best way for you guys to support us is by joining our Patreon. As a subscriber, you're going to get exclusive content such as Q&As, bonus interviews, hot takes, vlogs, and so much more. This show is a labor of love, and we do have financial needs to keep the podcast going. So if you would like to join our Patreon, log on to patreon.com/goodservicepodcast and join our community today. We love and appreciate you so much, stewards. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that. I would say that in some ways, pastoring, this sounds like different than I mean it, but there was a default to it. I had like a youth pastor. The way I would word it before is I had a youth pastor that gave a crap about me. Okay. When it felt like no one else did. And so for me, I wasn't given the opportunity. I didn't have the opportunities to go do some different thing. I wasn't in like, I was talking to my wife the other day. She was like, were you in like the Young Entrepreneurs Club when you were in high school? And I was like, no. You know, right. But I did find a space within this group of young people that offered me an opportunity to like explore gifts that I had and things that I brought to the table. And so that was a huge part of like getting into that space is I wanted to create that for others. I looked at, there are specific paths that are created for people to figure out what their journey is going to be. And then I took this whole side door and I was like, man, actually this is a really beautiful path. And there's something that my whole life changed, as I got more into like the church and I got more into like understanding that. And so that was huge. I did that for years, and then I started finding the limitations of it to some level. It's for me, and so for me, I started getting into a space that I was going, I want to shift the way that culture understands leadership. I want to invite people into understanding their own contribution and power within like the different dynamics. And I was doing that with students and was doing that in a church context in Long Beach, and I really enjoyed that. I was given an opportunity to do that for pastors. So the second part, I got it kind of into consulting and coaching first with like pastors and nonprofit leaders. And I would watch as like that was almost an untapped market because and not in like a business untapped market, meaning people weren't pouring into them because they gave off the impression they had all the answers. And so to me, I was looking at it saying, there's a group of people that are searching for answers. There's a group of people that were told, you're not supposed to search, you just give answers, but they still have questions.
Yeah.
Who's pouring into that?
Yep.
And so I became, with a group called Slingshot Group. They still exist. They're amazing. I love them. Was doing like staffing and coaching for churches and nonprofits with that company. And I would get to the heart of a leader in a church context, and they would say, I've never told anybody this, but ...
Yeah.
And I would go, oh, I just mentioned, like, what do you mean you never told anybody that? Like, there's no space for you to tell someone that. That's interesting. What if we start creating space for leaders in church nonprofit world to be able to do that? So we started our coaching, like kind of division of Slingshot Group, and that was just amazing. I was brought into people's stories, and there's no other. I'll say something that you can tell me if it's overly controversial, but like there's a level of image management within church leadership that keeps them from actually getting help.
Wow, yeah.
And so I can't tell you what I'm actually struggling with, because if I tell you what I'm actually struggling with or what I'm in the midst of, I'll lose my congregation.
Yeah. If
I tell you what's happening, well, we've been told that like I have to have all of my stuff together in order to be able to lead at a certain level. And if I tell you the truth about the doubts that I have, about the things that are going on in my family, about the things that are going on in my head, about the things that are going on in my leadership team, then I not only will am afraid that you'll look at me differently, but I could be stripped of my job. It's not just my ministry, my job.
Yeah.
And so it's been fascinating in coming out of it. I started working at Novus Global, and we're working with like, mayors of cities, and we're working with like Fortune 500 companies and like professional, gold medal winning athletes. And it's like this incredible experience. And I would say the juxtaposition between those two spaces is that I'm working with someone who is worth, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're just really honest with me about what they struggle with. They go, yeah, man, I've been cheating on my wife for a little while. I don't really want to do that anymore. Like, can you help me with that?
Yeah.
Hey, I've been struggling with this part of my health, or with my belief in myself, or fill in the blank.
Wow.
And it'll be like my first conversation, and they're going, you're a safe space for me. Let me tell you what's actually happening in my life. When I was working with pastors, the amount of image management that was happening, even in our safe space, it would take them months to trust me that if they told me the truth, I wasn't gonna blow up on them.
Sure.
I wasn't gonna take their livelihood away from them. And I think that's where we get in trouble. And so I found that as like oh wow, like I crave the authenticity. Isn't this funny? I crave the authenticity outside of the church.
Wow.
Because they'll actually handle what's happening in their life versus covering it with platitudes and all the things that they think they're supposed to say because they read it in that one scripture, or and their interpretation is, I'm supposed to be perfect. And I just go, man, so that was huge like help to me in my life. And then the exit was almost liberating in exiting, like working mainly with like church leaders. I don't coach any church leaders anymore. Not again, we do as a company, we will. But and even that, the fact that we're not a quote Christian company gives them permission to say things to their coaches at Novus Global that they don't say to that Christian coach.
That's very interesting.
Because they're afraid.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that totally answers the question, but
that sparks a lot of feelings with.
Yeah.
So
for me too.
I think that sucks. Like,
it's the
you know
worst.
What I mean? Like, okay, yeah, let's say we know the scriptures where it says, not many should teach because they'll be judged through just a stricter judgment.
Yep.
Who wants that? I'm like, I don't want to sign up for the stricter judgment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what might be the barrier for me. Like, I can't fully tell you not even that they probably won't even tell you that. They just would keep things, they'll just keep things from
veneer.
you. Yeah. It's not like I would tell you this, but I can't because there's scripture, so therefore I'm not going to tell you. It's like, I'm just not going to tell you.
Yeah.
So we're not really going to get anywhere that we need to get to because now I've put up a wall.
Until it blows up.
So I'm thinking about, and, we've heard the stories about, the mega church pastors that fall. And
to be clear, we hear about the megachurch ones, but it's not just the megachurch ones.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Those are just the ones we hear about.
Those get the headlines. You know what I mean?
That's
And so, it's unfortunately happening more than we know and more than should. But let's just be real. Pastors are human beings that also have flesh, that also struggle with sin as much as the next person.
Of course.
And so, I totally understand, why a pastor would feel like, man, I can't. And I heard something similarly, and I guess we're just going down this controversial conversation that, so I've heard of, certain doctors, who practice medicine, can't openly get therapy because if they do, then they're considered unstable. And if they're unstable, how are they supposed to deal under these high pressure, circumstances where they need to make the right decision?
Yeah.
So a doctor can't be unstable. So wait, what? So they have to be perfect?
So they actually stay unstable.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
The thing that's not public, it's still happening.
Right.
And so with the leader, with the doctor, fill in the blanks, that thing that's not out in the open is still happening. But how do you heal things that aren't in the light? How do you address things that you can't have an honest conversation with someone about? And so that's
crazy.
The image management, I think, is across the board, but largely in church world, but then so many leaders that feel like there's a way they're supposed to be. And so they stay in relationships longer. They stay in jobs longer. They stay in kind of that the muck and mire of their struggle longer. And so it actually is it's counterintuitive, counterproductive, because to talk about it, to bring it out, would heal it faster. Mm-hmm. But in trying to heal yourself in the midst of hiding. Mm-hmm. It festers. And so we have people walking around with open wounds that are unwilling to address the open wound. And then they get frustrated or it happens. And it can be small. A visual I like to use is have you ever had a paper cut on your hand? Mm-hmm. And then you put your hand in your pocket to get your phone or your keys, and it rubs up against that, your pant pocket, and you just go, oh, it's like that jolt, right? It doesn't hurt too bad until something rubs it, until something hits it. Mm-hmm. That's largely what's happening, and so it can start off small, and then it gets to a space that it opens up, and it gets infected, and it starts to affect other parts of the system, and whether that's your company, your church, your family. And so to me, there is something about what I love in some of the work that I get to do is that we just get we're inviting people we're working with into honest reflection of what's happening. So an example. When I'm working with the CEO of a company, or anyone for that matter, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get into their vision. What's the vision that you have? And that's cheesy coaching, right? Vision, but what's the goal? What's the thing that you look at? You go, I would just be thrilled if this were true of my life, my business, my company, who I am as a person. I'd be thrilled by this. Mm-hmm. And most people don't feel like they can do that without judgment with their friends. How many, Instagram culture, or now maybe TikTok culture, is saying hey, don't tell your friends what you're up to. Just go hide, go away for 6 months and then come back and you'll show them what's going on. Well, it's what would happen if you weren't ashamed to say, this is actually what I want my life to look like. Mm-hmm. This is where I'm headed. Yeah. And you weren't afraid that there's gonna be judgment about it. That's gonna be you're not good enough for that, or what makes you think you could do that. And so the first step of our coaching engagement is really anchor into where someone's heading and what they want. So our definition of vision is it's a picture of the future that compels you into action, right? It's now that I've seen that in my mind, now that I've seen that, everything else feels lesser than. Then we get clear on what current reality is. And again, here, most people either inflate or deflate what current reality is. It's either worse than it actually is, and they've buried their head, or it's not as bad as it actually is, and they're catastrophizing it.
Wow.
And we go, look, let's get very clear on current reality and very clear on where you're headed. The coaching that we have is everything in between those two spaces, and we're inviting them into exploring where will Ben get in the way of his own vision? Where will you go into the default of what you think everyone else wants from you, what you think you're supposed to want, right? We get into all of these different spaces, and then as a coach, I'm inviting you to challenge that assumption and to move beyond the things that are barriers for you, because this is worth it.
If there was like a top 3 or just, the must-haves of the makings of a good leader, what would those be?
Must-haves in like a top 3. I think there is something to being, depending on industry, and so this word will matter, it will hit differently. Do you have a vision that's compelling?
Okay.
So the word compelling, different people will be compelled by different types of leadership or vision. And so I think that is one thing. If you don't have a destination you're taking someone to, you're not leading them. Right?
That's good.
So what are you compelling people toward, and are you clear about that? I think that there's a communication to it. Now that could mean speaking from a stage, but often it doesn't. Do you communicate in a way that people can understand the compelling vision, like that they know where they're headed? And so I think that's probably number 2. I'm doing this top of head right now.
Yeah.
I think probably the third one is like, I would almost go into a space of like, it's like compassion. Like to be able to look at someone and say, I understand that I'm ahead of you. I don't expect you to be where I am right now when it comes to the vision. Not skill, not talent, not all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I know where we're headed, and that's why I'm the leader. You're coming with me. I have compassion for the fact that you don't know where we're headed yet. And so let me help you with my communication to bring you along and help you to understand how to get there with me. And I think a lot of times people think like leaders will say, well, I already told them that. I already told them what the plan is. I already told them what the goal was. I already told them. And I go, oh yeah? Like, do you think they might have forgotten? Do you think they might have misunderstood? Do you think that it's possible that you can say it over and over again? There's a leader who used to always say like, vision leaks. And so in an organization, like just because you say it one time doesn't mean that they get it forever. They'll get it for a while, and then it leaks.
Right.
And so your job is to keep filling the room with the vision. You keep filling the team with the vision.
Yeah.
So I could probably be pushed on any of those, but those, if I'm looking for 3.
Yeah, I love it.
That's kind of where I would
the
land.
3 C's. So the compelling vision, the communication of that vision, and compassion for those who may not quite be there yet.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going Baptist. I didn't know we were going. I didn't know we were going.
You went into preacher mode.
Okay.
Right
Okay.
there,
Good. Okay. Good.
That's really good. Because I also feel like a good leader is still imperfect. A good leader,
that's human.
Yeah, it's human.
Yeah.
They may even leak their own vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they're not reminded as to why
That's it.
I'm still doing this.
Yeah, so then maybe even compassion is self-compassion.
Wow,
There's a
that's
piece
good.
there, right? If we add that to it. And so the amount of, I was talking to a leader the other day, and they were like, again, it's like the shoulds. I should already be good at this. And I was like, man, he just got into the role. And I remember saying to him, and it seemed to really, like he talked to me later about how it was impactful. I basically just said, it'd be weird if you were already good at this. Like that's
just unnatural, or you're just
you're not a freak of nature, right?
Yeah.
It's not, you didn't learn through osmosis. You didn't like
Right.
see someone do it in a movie and now you know how to do it, and now you're like naturally already amazing at this thing that takes people decades to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Like it'd be weird if you were already good at this.
Yeah.
Think of your favorite leaders, the people that have like impacted you the most, and then go back to how they were when they first got started. Like it'd be weird if they were the same now after years, decades, right, of leading.
Yeah.
Like, and yet we don't give ourselves that break, right? We don't give our team that break.
Yeah.
We expect, well, I said it, and this is what it is, and here's what we're gonna do, and this is no, man. That's not how human beings work.
Yeah.
So
How important is natural talent and gifting in being a good leader?
Depends on what you're trying to lead. So, like, obviously, if if you're trying to lead on your basketball team, you should probably be naturally pretty good at basketball, right? Like, there is like a taking someone from. It's very difficult to take someone from like a 0 to 10. It's easier to take someone from like a 7 to a 10. If you naturally have the like some athleticism, it's gonna be easier for you to make it into whatever sport that is. If you already have like some stage presence, well, you're more likely going to be able to. So if leadership requires you to be up on stage and to speak, you want some natural talent that helps you get there. You can develop that as well, but it's both.
Yeah.
When it comes to, hey, I'm starting this business. I have a small team. It's like there's like a varying levels of like where natural talent is necessary. So like I would say I have very low natural talent or acumen in math. Like me personally, like that.
Same.
Numbers get jumbled.
That's where
words,
the Asianness. Don't be fooled by the Asianness, man. I don't. Don't work.
Words, I got you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'll remember it. I can explain it. Ready to go. Put a spreadsheet in front of me. It's all blurry. I'm like immediately bored. I don't want anything to do with it. Well, that I've developed the skill to be like better than I was. But I lean into other parts of my leadership and I put other people around me to fill in the blanks or the gaps of my leadership.
Yep.
I'd be in trouble if I thought I had no gaps in my leadership, right? Because everything I would touch, we would go broke because I wouldn't pay enough attention to that part.
Yeah.
So like natural talent, natural ability, I think is a gift, but I think we got to figure out what kind of leader you're trying to be.
Yeah. So, I get very vulnerable and transparent on this podcast, and I'm very much not afraid to be like, look, that part is not. I don't have that.
Yeah, sure.
It's not where I would like for it to be. It's not even where God wants it to be, but He's not finished yet. It's just so. I think about Moses is the first guy that comes to mind where like God's like, all right, lead my people, and He's like, what are you talking about? I can't even talk. Like I'm not a good speaker, and then like God's calling him to. So then He's like, well, I gave you your mouth. I'll give you the ability to say the words that you need to be able to say and things like that, right?
Sure.
So and I don't want to go on the extreme of like, so even if you don't have the skills, do it anyway, because God will give you the gift. You know what I mean? Like we got to be very clear. Like, Lord, are you actually calling me to do this thing? And short of a audible voice from heaven, we may be like, I mean, maybe, like, I think, like, I spent some time praying about it. I'm still not sure, but I feel like I'm going to kind of inch my way towards it. And, so for myself as a, I'll just say as the dancer version of myself, as the, you dance.
You did that, huh?
I did a little bit of dancing.
I've heard of that.
And even with that, like I never once considered myself as like, oh man, I'm good enough to be one of the best. I've never thought that. But I always found myself like, why am I kind of around the best in my opinion? I think these guys are the best. I think this crew is the best, and I'm like, I'm a part of their team.
Yeah.
So then I almost kind of like, maybe it's an insecurity, false humility thing, but kind of like by association, I felt like I must be pretty good or good enough to be able to hang out with these guys, right?
Yeah.
But never still thinking like, oh yeah, this is where I'm the best. And I think the Lord is still working this out in me, and it's gotten better. And because the dance side, I'd say the better part of my adult life, the last 20 years, has been just me focusing on dance, my career. And then without me realizing, I placed my identity in that. And now there's this undoing that really hurts because it's this, if I can't do that at that level anymore, am I losing my identity? Am I losing why I matter and all these things? And so the Lord has been doing a lot of just like heart surgery, for me. Like, hey, I gave you that as something that I wanted you to use for something bigger than just that thing. Yeah. And now that I'm transitioning, like, wow, I have a podcast. If you were to have told 21-year-old Ben, someday you're going to have a podcast, I mean, then I'd have been like, what is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you'll be, hosting a show, you'll be talking behind the mic, you'll be kind of considered a thought leader. I would have been like, you're crazy. All I know how to do is dance. I don't have anything else more to add value to someone else's life, as if I've gotten it all figured out. Right. So this whole podcast journey has just been a catalog of just me fumbling through the figuring out process.
Yeah.
And here we are today. And so like my sort of roundabout way of even my journey as like, I thought this is all I had. These are the only skills that I have that matter. And then here I am with this transition of getting into a space where now we're just talking. You know what I mean? You said you have words. I guess I have words too. I can explain how I'm feeling. I can draw out conversation from people.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that itself is a new tool that God, I guess, gave me, but has been refining and sharpening, and he's still doing it, So I think it's really interesting that you bring up the 3 C's, right? Like, if you were to ask me what vision I have that I'm like compelled towards, this whole point of this show is to let people know you can do it too. Mm-hmm. It's also for you. Because I'll be the first one to be like, I have no idea really what I'm doing. I've really never known. But like, I just kind of keep going by faith, by the grace of God. And something is drawing me to keep going. And I keep going with like fear and trepidation still. Yeah. And it's not this like, dude, I got this now. Let me just kick the doors down and guys, I'm here. Who's ready to follow me? I'm just like, I think I know where I'm going. Yeah. And I want others to know, hey, if you're like not so sure either, just come with me, dude. Like, it's safe. Like I've taken the arrows in the back. You know what I mean? I've opened the door first, and like we can go together, and letting people know that vulnerability is not only okay, it's the unlock to the next thing. Because the pastor who is afraid to, I can't tell you exactly where I'm at because of the judgment or of the fear of loss, then you'll just stay stuck, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's really just me processing even this in real time.
Hey Stewards, we all need prayer, so we're excited to announce our partnership with Seedling. Seedling is an online platform for churches, content creators, and different ministries to connect to their communities through the power of prayer. There'll be real people on the other side, like myself and Ben. We're also logged on. We'll be there to intercede for you through voice and through text. Please log on to seedling.so so we can get connected through prayer. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you sharing it. I think that we undervalue the skill and, is it skill? We undervalue, when you say like open the door first, go through the thing first, like to be out front is vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people only want to be known or seen once they've figured it out. Yeah. And that's why they'll stay where they are. It is the going first. It is the willingness to put out the video, the willingness to start the community group, the willingness to, like, it's funny, and I don't know all of the history, so like please correct, because there are people that will like roast me for this, but like you've been a part of, like, you've been at the beginning of 2 world-class dance crews. As I in my mind, and you're looking at it saying, and maybe others are even better dancers, but not everyone is the person who's at the beginning and is the starter of things and is the person who gets to be a part of. And you can do it alone. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I definitely didn't do it alone.
But most people, I think, would go, I'm not going to start a dance crew. I'm not going to be like, what do you mean? And I think that there's something, and there are probably more people that wanted to join once it was something than before it was something. And I think that I that's probably been an unfair advantage that I've had is like you go, hey, I got a podcast and this is the first season that it's just gonna be me interviewing, and I go, I'll be a guest on that.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. Because I love the start of things. I love the it's like brain candy for me. It's like, where is this gonna go? Like, this is amazing. Where's that? I got a group of friends and we all dance pretty well. And we're gonna go try something. Like, I remember when I was 17, I was young, and my friend and I started a band, and no one would book us, because it's like, who does that? And he and I went out and we started. We actually, sorry for everyone that will learn this later, but like, I would call a venue and pretend that I was our booking agent. And so I'd go, hey, this is David from Red Rabbit Booking. I got this great band that you should check out. And because if the lead singer of the band calls, we have no credibility. But if someone else is calling on our behalf, it just happens to be me. Like, there's something about the creativity and like the lean in and like the willingness to fail and like go and try and become and grow and do it in front of people so that you can actually like get the feedback and that you can like experience it from other people's vantage point in their eyes. There's something beautiful, in my opinion, about like defaulting to action. Like, go for it.
Yeah.
And I think it is our love of perfection, and especially now that everything's captured, right? Hey, if I remember I wrote that book, and I the first time I had an opportunity to write a book, I turned it down because I didn't want my words to be captured for all time, because I was pretty sure I was going to change my opinion at some point.
Yeah. And
so the book you talked about, man, I might remove it from my bio. That was 2020 that book came out, and I would say I agree with a good portion of it. There are some things in it that I go, I don't know if I would say it that way anymore.
Wow.
I've evolved. I've grown.
I've
become something. I bet you there are moves you made early in your career that you go,
1,000%.
I don't know that I would do that again.
Yeah, I don't do that. I want to move like that.
But what's
anymore.
hard is now it's all captured on film.
Right.
Right now it's all on social. Our kids are gonna like their whole lives are gonna be social media, and so someone's gonna go, remember that time you had that opinion and you posted about it, and it's like you're defined by that now.
Yeah.
Now, my hope is that we obviously evolve as people, and then because everyone's on social media, we realize people can evolve.
Right. But
that's not a doomsday tale, but there's something about what keeps us from becoming our authentic self or trying things that we don't already know how to do. And I think if we go all the way back to the kind of the beginning of our conversation, we go, I think there are people who have influence, contributors, and leaders that will never actually step into that role because they're afraid of doing it in front of people. They're afraid of stepping in before they're ready. And the only way to become a leader is to step into it before you're ready.
Wow.
Like, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, otherwise we're waiting for someone to open the door for us. We're waiting for something to happen that someone else is going to do a thing. Well, that's not. Well, then they're the leader, right? And so I'm so curious around, like, in the things that like we're talking about here, what does it look like to be willing to be authentic in front of people, to be willing to like talk about the struggle that you have, and it doesn't have to be like, let me tell you my secret sin, but it can be in the right context. It can be. I remember I've had like. We were talking about like, eating food, and I have celiac, and, and so it's like, I'm like, I used to hate putting people out. Hey, like, what do you want? I'll eat anything. But I knew that it was like poison to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
and it was like, I just didn't want to put anybody out. I didn't want to, that felt like vulnerable to me. I didn't want to be a burden. Right. Same. Like, I've talked about it. I've just started talking about it probably this year, but for the last like 10 years, I've had some like health issues. Well, gosh, like that, like I thought that the only way to be taken seriously was to hide that. The only way that someone would want me to coach them is that they have to know that I have it all together and it's perfect and everything's this neatly like packaged thing. And I go, actually, no, like what's interesting about humanity is that we struggle and that we have like our gaps and that we are trying to figure things out together. And so to come off as perfect is boring.
Yeah.
To already have the answer is boring. If you already knew exactly where this podcast was going to go, boring. Like that's, it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
It's the journey around it. And then the leadership or the influence comes from knowing when to lean in and when to lean out. Like there's a time that you're going to start something and go, oh, that ran its course. And there are other times that you're going to start something and you need to go, oh, I think other people think it's run its course, but I think that there's more here. And I'm going to lean in. And that's the game we get to play. That's the bet you're making.
Yeah.
As you kind of bet on yourself.
I love that you mentioned the book thing where you turned down the opportunities to write a book before because you didn't want to be held accountable or held to those words as if that is your gospel truth for David Miller that will never change.
Yep.
I mean, you're not writing your own Bible. You're
Right.
You're writing down the thoughts, the experiences that you've developed up until that point. And then you live more life from there, and those things will either stay true and mature and become even more solidified, or you're like, hey, I kind of want to push back on myself on that one, right? And I think that's where, with where we're at with social media, and I'm glad, I'm so grateful that cancel culture is not as hot as it once was, even during COVID. Everyone was so eager to cancel. Like 20 years ago, you tweeted that, and now, none of your words matter anymore. Yeah. But I think there is, and I hope that this becomes more of a thing, that like mercy culture, grace culture, restoration culture is more of a thing that people are willing to offer, because as humans, we are always growing, and we will even change our once upon a time, I used to think this, and now I don't anymore. Is that okay? Or do I have to stick to that?
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
You know what I mean?
I'll fumble through this a little bit, but I want to play with it with you. I think that there are times to take someone's microphone away.
Yeah.
And that moment doesn't define them forever. And so there's a space here where I would go, hey, the thing you believe right now is untenable to where culture is, and or where you where the people we would want to follow and or give a platform to. And there is opportunity for you to shift your point of view, to learn and grow, and for us to welcome you as you do that. There's also again, like adaptations. Like I remember, and I haven't thought of this in so long, but as we're talking about it, like there's an author who I don't actually agree with everything that that he says, but there's an author. His name's David Nasser, and I don't know if he's been around for a long time, but when I was young,
know David Nasser.
He's a great guy. I've met him a couple times. He's a great guy. He actually, so one of his first books, and I'm sure I'm going to flub this, was A Call to Die. That was the name.
Okay.
A Call to Die.
Powerful.
And man, I bought that hook, line, and sinker, man. I read that book and went, and it was very punishing. You know what I mean? Like I'll never be good enough, and all this stuff. And again, I'm condensing it into a sentence or two.
Yeah.
But what was and the book was fine. What was one of the most powerful things is that he wrote the next book, and he sold hundreds of thousands of copies of Call to Die. The next book was called A Call to Grace, and the intro to the book, if I remember correctly, is him sitting in a boat out in the middle of a lake, crying out, saying, "God, why did you let me publish that other book?"
Yeah.
I hurt so many people. Why did you let that? Why did you let me do that? Now, it's not that everything in that book was bad, evil, whatever.
Yeah.
But I love it. It was inspiring to me, though. Again, not fully in on all of the ways that he would even go in his second book. But I loved that he was like in the book, going, "Remember that book I wrote a few years ago? I don't actually agree with all that anymore.
Yeah.
That's not actually what I want to be known for. I want to help." And here's the next piece of it. That's what I believed then.
Yeah.
And I had conviction about it, and I went all in. I was fully in. Here's what I believe now.
Yeah.
And there's a nuance to it. Gosh, I think that's beautiful.
Wow. Dude, I'm in that space, like literally as we speak. And this isn't the first conversation that I've like kind of, opened this up. Like I grew up I grew up in the church, and I thought that Christianity was right here in this bubble. Like as long as you're doing this, you're good and you're safe. You go outside of that, you better be careful, because now you're getting towards heresy to prosperity gospel and all this other stuff. Like just stay here in this bubble.
Yep.
Which is like I've kept like it limited to Jesus my Lord and Savior, and I need him so that I don't go to hell. And there's this thing called grace, but not really sure exactly what that is, but other than like I don't deserve it. And it's just everything's just like kept within here, but it's like the riches and the abundance of God and the healing, and God speaks to you. I'm like, whoa, you're getting outside the bubble now. Like I don't I've heard that stuff was like for the Bible times. We live in the modern church now. God stopped being that way. He stays in this safe bubble now. And I'm unlearning all of that by way of the grace of God, because he is too big to be contained even in the bubble that I would want to keep him in, where I feel safe. And I'm learning, like, no, the God of the Bible is the God today, and he does everything that he did then and he does now. Like, well, how do you make sense of when Jesus says you're going to do the things that I've done and more? Like, what? How can we do more, Lord? And he's like, well, those are his words. So I'm learning now too. Like, man, I used to be like, nah, all that stuff was, it ceased, and now it's like, we're here, but God's like, no, it hasn't,
There's something about that in church world. There's something about that in maybe it's like, I've been talking a lot about U.S. culture because it's where we live, right? So but there's so much around certainty that we live in, and so we must be certain. I always thought that was such an interesting thing when I was in the church space of like, you're so certain of your theology. You're so certain of the way that a church service is supposed to look, or fill in the blank. And it's like that almost more than most things, when it's like, we talked about Moses, it's like only he could go up and he couldn't even look upon him. And then he came down and brought the laws and then spoke for. And we think that everyone's certain about what's supposed to happen and the way that it's supposed to. He couldn't even look on it. It was too vast for him to comprehend, to then for all eternity for us to be so certain about so many aspects of it. And I think there's something, some people get very nervous about that. I think that's very beautiful. Like the vastness of God, the vastness of humanity, that like there's something like compelling and beautiful and like draws in. What I get nervous about for leaders, for our local churches, for businesses, is that when we come in and we go, I know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. I just, like, that freaks me out a little bit. Hey, in order to hit our Q1 goals, I know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. I just go, dude, are you like a wizard? Like, what do you mean you know? Like, we're going to go do a thing we've never done and you're certain about it? What are you talking about? And again, that's where there's so much room to play.
It's good.
When you start thinking through the idea of, I don't know what I don't know. We talk about blind spots in coaching a lot. And it's funny because someone will go, well, I don't have any blind spots. And I'll go, well, you wouldn't know if you did, because you're blind to them.
Yeah. Right.
But we surround ourselves in our cultures in echo chambers. We listen to the same things. We it's the same kinds of podcasts, same kind of news, same kind of friends, and we our social media becomes echo chamber. Our church community becomes an echo chamber. Our friend group becomes an echo chamber. Our family becomes an echo chamber. Our neighborhood becomes an echo chamber, and we live in these different spaces. And then we think we have context for what's happening in the world. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, how? Like, you don't. Like let's go be curious. Let's go find out together. Let's go like link arms and figure out what it means to lead and to worship and to like to follow, to like all of those things in my mind are like these beautiful invitations into curiosity versus certainty. And I think certainty, it's another misnomer that I think people believe that as leaders we are We have to be certain. And I actually think that gets in the way, because a good leader is able to go, I think we're going to go in this direction. And then partway through going in that direction, they go, wrong direction, and then can adjust.
Mm-hmm.
But what's hard is that people go, if you adjust, if you change your opinion, if you change your model, well, then like, you're not true. You're not a real strong leader.
Right.
Well, then I go, what happened to Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
like, I mean, again, it's not new. This is not like groundbreaking,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's like actually you can go through most companies and go where they started is not, Nintendo started as a playing card company. So if they were like, well, we're purists, and I'm sure that what we're supposed to do is be a playing card company. We don't, they don't move in the direction that they're in. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? So like,
Totally.
and so we live in that. So I love you expressing and you going, actually, I feel very curious about what's happening in my spirituality and in the church world right now. How God is showing up in my life. I want to be very curious about the way that this works, versus I heard it this one time in youth group, and that's forever what I
Right.
think, and that will never change no matter what, because that I'm afraid that I won't do it right otherwise. And I think there's like beauty in the exploration.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that
No,
how does it hit you?
Yeah,
Like,
it's hitting me because it kind of makes me feel like the uncertainty is a part of the magic. It's not magic if you just know it. And okay, let's not call it magic, but let's say like,
it's beauty.
so faith is, I'm going to believe in something that I've never seen before. I don't know what's necessarily going to come out of this faith, other than like I've heard what Jesus said, and I believe it's true, but it's not really faith unless it involves some level of fear.
Yeah.
Right?
If you are certain, it is not faith.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. And I keep using the analogy of Peter walking on water. He knew like, if this isn't God, I'm sinking. But if it is God, I'm just going to hope that I can walk. So there is this, I'm not sure, but if this is true, I believe that this will happen. Right. And so there is uncertainty there, but it's like doing it anyway because of what was said. And I believe in what was said is more true than what I feel and what I fear.
Yeah. Especially the fear. I think unknown is fearful. Like walking into a space, there is a moment that you go, okay, like we're constantly, and we do this. This is a part of like the way that we're wired as people. It's like, okay, am I safe? Like you go back in time. Are there animals around me that can hurt me? Like again, I've never been in this building before, and so what do? I go. Like I text you, hey, can I come in?
Yeah.
Well, again, because there's like I don't know what's in there.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I'm walking into.
For sure.
I know you. And so there is something to like being very intentional in the way that we, like I think we almost like it's like we're so afraid, and even sometimes villainize the exploration and trying to figure out where we're headed, what we're doing, what we believe, what we don't believe. And again, there's something beautiful in my mind of the growth. If you are, there's a kind of old-timey phrase a mentor used to say to me a lot of times, and it was, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got.
Wow, yeah.
And then you take it a step further. You say, well, if you are at all dissatisfied with what you've always got, you must look at what you've always done. You cannot keep doing what you've always done and not get what you always got.
Right.
And so there is like this invitation to reinvent. There is this invitation to ask questions. There is this invitation to explore, to see, hey, I've always done it this way. I've always worshiped this way. I've always led this way. I've always had this kind of job. I've always been a dancer. I wonder if I'm a podcaster. I wonder if I'm a thought leader. I wonder if I'm a business leader. I wonder if I'm a fill in the blanks.
Yep.
And that exploration is a part of you growing and deciding and trying. And I just think there's something really, really amazing about that in the faith world, in the business world, in the leadership space. And we don't do it enough because we're so afraid, again, because the audience is someone else.
Right.
So, oh no, they'll think, whatever,
Yeah.
and then fill in the blanks.
And all these principles translate, it's not like, well, that only works in that context. It's like, no, like when you're talking about, this might be like coaching 101 type stuff, but if you really like take it back to a source, like this is just biblical. You know what I'm saying? Like if we really want to like take principles of the Bible and then apply them to business or apply them to art or apply them to what have you, it's the same. And that's why it seems like people are like, yeah, it's all like all that stuff's kind of the same because it all sounds the same. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of what I'm getting, like, you know, even with the coaching and you coming from the lens of ministry and then like, hey, let me just take this and apply it over here, and then it translates. You know what I mean? Like I think that's really, really cool. One final question that I ask every guest. So our show is called Good Service. We like to frequent these amazing restaurants that provide good food and good service, which ultimately creates a good experience, and that's why we keep going back to these places. Major shout out to Egg Tuck again for the amazing food today. But good service can mean different things to different people. Good and service. So what does good service mean to you, David?
Yeah, I'm in a season that good service is at home in a pretty major way. I have 3 kids, and there is something about the way maybe my natural propensity is to grind and hustle and to take myself to the edges of my capacity with influence or leadership or making money or whatever that is. To serve my family well is for me to place barriers or like to say, no, actually now it's time to be with them. Now it's time to turn that off and to be very present. And so in one way that, like, for me personally, I've started leaning far more into how do I help like set the life up for them and like show them another way to try to parent, another way to try and like hopefully they'll take it with them. So that's one way that like I think good service has shown up in my life. I think that there's something to also the work that we're doing, even in like I'm lucky enough to have a job that serves people. I was talking with my wife the other day, and this is where these will bleed together. To have a job that holds space for people to talk about things they don't talk about with anyone else, to explore things that they don't explore with anyone else, is a level of service, and it feels a lot like ministry. There is like I'm holding. Yesterday was a day that a lot of people that I'm in relationship with were going through tragedy, things in their family, things in their businesses, things in their health, and they didn't have other places to place that tragedy, so they placed it with like I get to hold that with them, and that feels sacred to me, and that feels like good work. And then in the same way that a pastor or a counselor or a doctor, and again, not to overinflate what I'm doing, those are obviously different. I get to then, while carrying that, come into my family and not give it to them. And I think that is intentional. That doesn't happen by accident. And I've been very, very fortunate to be partnered well. To be able to do that and like have space to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that, man. What is a way that that I myself and or our listening audience can serve you in this season through prayer?
I mentioned earlier, I am on like a health journey right now. And so I am in the process of, I've got about a 10-year journey where my legs are slowly wasting away. And so if you saw, probably even when we were in person 2 years ago, I walk differently now than I did then. I probably have a different body type now than I did then because I'm still learning how to function with less function. And so I don't have like a lot of answers. And so there's a piece of me that's saying, I think I'm used to if I can outwork or outthink this problem. And I am entered into probably the first time in my life that I'm coming to the end of how hard I can work or think to solve this. And so I would love to have more answers about it. I would love to have more peace about this new way of me showing up in the world, and to really like lean into that. That's probably one of the big ways, like for me personally.
Wow.
I'm in the wrestle right now.
Thank you for sharing that. I'll definitely be praying, man. And for our listeners, let's be praying for David. if people would want to get connected with you, what are the best ways for them to get familiar with what you're up to, the work that you're doing? What's the best way?
Yeah, so novus.global is our website. We have 70 coaches across mainly the US and Canada that, and I'm all over that website. So you'd be able to find me personally. Social, which I can give you all the links and things like that along the way. And then, you know what? I do this every once in a while. We have like an assessment that we've kind of created for people. And so normally it's like something we do with clients, but I think I can, I'll get like a link that you can give out.
Be great.
So, and people really understanding like what this idea of like going beyond high performance is, what's the next chapter for them. I think that can be really helpful, and maybe get in touch with someone.
Yeah, we'll plug that in the show caption and everything. David, I wanna just thank you, man. Thank you for your friendship over the years, and you're a very intentional person. It's funny how you connect with somebody like right when you're supposed to, and you're kind of like, this is the time that I needed to connect with this person again. And I feel like you're definitely one of those people who kind of hits me up at the right time. And thank you for just taking that chance. Even being willing to be the first guest on the new season of the new format. And I'm like, I hope it's good. You know what I mean? And
so fun.
I appreciate just the level of encouragement that you give me. I know we're gonna talk offline or after the pod more too, but I just want to acknowledge you, man. Like the work that you're doing is more than meaningful. I think it really is life changing, and I just want to acknowledge you for that and bless you with that. And so, dude, thank you for hanging out with me on Good Service, man.
Yeah, what an honor.
Yeah. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Good Service. If you're finding us for the first time, we have 100+ episodes prior to this. And if this is blessing you in any type of way, you can bless us in return by sharing the episode. Screenshot your phone, tag us at Good Service Pod. We like to repost all that stuff on our Instagram. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss any episode. Rate and reviews really help us get visibility. So if you feel like we deserve a 5-star rating, we would love that. Write us a review. Let us know parts of the episodes that you're enjoying, guests that you would want me to bring on, and just anything. Anything really helps. And if you would like to bless the podcast financially, please subscribe to our Patreon. I'm going to be going crazy with Patreon in the new year. I know I'm going to upload new content. I know we said we're going to do that before, and we kind of fell behind on it, but that's one of my goals for 2026 is to really go and pump exclusive content into Patreon, stuff that you're not going to get on the podcast. So be on the lookout for that. So subscribe to our Patreon. We also have a Cash App at Good Service Pod. And those are the best ways to support the podcast. But more than that, please keep praying for the podcast. This is a new season for me. I'm still figuring out how to get my legs and doing this thing by myself. So would love your prayers, love your support, and love you guys. Stewards, we out of here. Good service. Peace. Stewards, thank you so much for supporting Good Service. People have been asking us how you can support the pod. We have a Patreon.
Yes, if you guys go on there, there's additional content. We're going to be doing Q&As, different announcements, and other types of special things just for our tight community. So thank you guys for supporting us on Patreon.
Please subscribe. We love you guys. Peace, Stewards.